LIEnette, under the complete and total control of her law, LOL, has filed a motion for summary judgment. What this means is they want the entire federal case thrown out of court and them declared the winners. But that ain't gonna happen. Not by any stretch of the imagination. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel. So far down that they're now claiming they have a forensic handwriting expert stating that I created these signs. If you're not familiar with the signs, multiple signs were put up all around our town stating that Jeremy Hales is the Ohio, well, we'll just say rapist. Except that's not what they said. I've never heard a more foolish thing in my life, and I'm sure the judge will agree, or a jury, whichever direction it goes. Number one, what successful individual is ever going to write the most vile, devastating, destructive things about themselves? Not even Crook is that stupid. Okay. Number two, they have yet to even file this handwriting expert's opinion within the federal court. They're stating it's there if we need it. Hello, there is a massive defamation lawsuit in federal court. She needs it in a defense, but you're not going to submit it? How foolish is that? Because it's not real. Then you have the whole issue of these were placed around town in May of 2023. Our forensic handwriting expert, whose actual conclusions that LIEnette 100% authored these, wrote half of these signs, and we still don't know who the other person is who wrote the other half, stated based on the filings in court in Levy County off of her handwriting. You get this, right? The signs went up, then she files all these filings in court, and off of her handwriting, with an expert opinion looking at all this, determines 100% it's LIEnette. Except LIEnette's lawyer and their expert is now stating it was me who wrote it, trying to copy her handwriting. All right, let's ask the most obvious question that anybody with a brain should have been asking from the beginning. Where'd I get a sample of the handwriting to try and copy? Because our handwriting expert took all the samples after, well after the signs were all posted around town. How foolish can somebody be to, number one, even believe this is true? Number two, to think that somebody would do this and accuse themselves of it? Number three, all the evidence exists. LIEnette, absolutely, 100% did this. Is this what we would call a royal flush? No. This is what we would call a royal turd that is flushed. And in court, it's going to be destroyed, shredded to pieces, just like their motion for summary judgment. Don't you just love it when some of the players in the game are playing chess? You know, my side. And the other players are playing checkers, you know, her side. To the point of LIEnette is claiming she just wants nobody to record, nobody to share anything, nobody, use her image, the child, the baby, the this, the that, and yet feeding that stuff to some individuals. Pictures of the child and talking on YouTube. Do you understand what a judge or a jury is going to end up saying about this? To the claim of, I don't want to be on and I don't want exposure, and yet wanting the exposure and feeding the information for exposure. Now, I'm not going to expose her actual Facebook page. It's ridiculous, but she's been pretty active the past couple days. As a matter of fact, the one thing she did is she literally begged people to go watch something on YouTube that had to do with her. Now, this isn't the first time. This isn't the second time. This is multiple times. And yes, we have it all documented. Everything is dated and it goes on and on. And she even literally goes on to state, you just can't fix stupid. I'm literally reading it right now. She put it in there today. You can't fix stupid. No kidding. If you could, she would have never stalked us to Otter Creek in the first place. If you could, she would have actually adhered to the cease and desist. If you could, she actually would have adhered to the civil protection orders. And the list would go on and on and on. But what she's done is made sure that this continues to go on and on and on. The news story of my life. And here's the most interesting thing. She posts today, don't waste words on people who deserve your silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Well, isn't that ironic, as her mouth is the thing that got her in these situations. Her writing is the thing that got her in this situation in the entire first place. If she would have kept her own wisdom, wait, this just sounds weird, LIEnette and wisdom, words, if she would have adhered to her own words, we'll go with that because she likes the verbal diarrhea, then she would have never been in this situation in the first place. But she is, and it's real, and it will not go away. It will go all the way to the end, to where both her and Crook are held accountable for everything they've done to try and destroy me, George, and our lives in Otter Creek and well beyond. I could go over their entire motion for summary judgment, but it'd be like trying to convince you that the earth is flat. It's just complete and total foolishness. They're playing checkers, we're playing chess. With actual evidence. You realize when the signs were created, that was LIEnette's writing. She wrote real words. Jeremy, Hales, Levy, County. Then, months later, she ran to the courthouse in her own words and wrote the words Jeremy, Hales, Levy, County. Not once, again and again and again and again and again, giving science all the evidence that they needed to make the conclusion that LIEnette is the author of half the signs. Now, where's the science in claiming that I created any of these signs? Oh, wait, that's right. There is none. And if you're someone out there watching that you would believe the garbage that's being flung by those fools, saying that I wrote those about myself, you should be known as a flat earther, because you dumb. Now, let's get into the actual motion, okay? In opposition, this is our motion, 24 pages, in opposition to their flat earth checkers motion for summary judgment. All right. Jeremy Hales, plaintiff, or Mr. Hales, whichever you prefer to call me. Jeremy's even fine. By and through the undersigned counsel, responds to the motion for summary judgment, hereinafter called the motion. Realize this is legalese. Filed by defendants LIEnette Preston and John Crook. Oh, by the way, John Crook was just reported threatening Mayor Zim as well, as Mayor Zim's affidavit of the incident was, well, it was filed officially in the federal courts, and Crook now knows about it. And immediately afterwards, witness intimidation yet again by these fools? How dumb can you be? All right, as follows. The response in opposition to the motion for summary judgment will show the existence of genuine disputes of material facts. In other words, evidence, real science, which precludes the entry of summary judgment in favor of Miss Preston and Mr. Crook on count 1 and 2 of Mr. Hale's complaints, okay? Now realize there's multiple counts of my complaint within the federal court. They want it to all just go away. And they want money and they want fame. Even though she claims she doesn't want anybody to see her or record her, and yet she's feeding information to certain individuals. That's going to hurt really bad in court. This response is supported by, number 1, an affidavit by Diane Peterson. Exhibit 1. That is the handwriting expert's forensic evidence, which actually takes real science into account, real words that were written, Jeremy versus Jeremy. Jeremy on the sign, Jeremy on all the motions that LIEnette went months and months later. Again, let's ask the question, how in the world am I supposed to actually forge her handwriting if I never saw her write my name? If I never saw the words Jeremy, Hales, Levy, County, they were never in writing anywhere. How am I supposed to forge that? Not to mention I'm not even in Florida. Neither is George. But I digress. All right, so we've got the sworn affidavit of Diane Peterson, my forensic handwriting expert, which is Exhibit 1. The affidavit of Madam Mayor Therese, who found some of the signs. Exhibit 2, the affidavit of, Brett, Madam Mayor Therese's husband. Exhibit 3, who found some of the signs. And affidavit of Zim, Mayor Zim now. Exhibit 4, copies that are attached. You realize, and by the way, here's the funny part. They go, isn't it interesting that his friends found them? Isn't it interesting that LIEnette's friends are saying that it's fraudulent? That it's... Friendship has nothing to do with real evidence. They found them because they were the ones that were up and actually working, which is something LIEnette and Crook don't do. But they don't mind going dumpster diving in the middle of the night and apparently putting signs in the middle of the roads as well. I'm not going to go over the affidavits right now because they're actually a part of this 24-page motion, right? So keep that in mind. Introduction. The defendants are wrong. The defendants are LIEnette and Crook, both legally and as a matter of fact, or meaning evidence, in their contentions that there's no genuine dispute to any material fact on his 2 counts for defamation per se, counts 1 and 2. I hope you understand defamation per se literally means that it was so horrific, so horrible, that just it itself, you don't have to show damages. You don't have to say, hey, this hurt. It literally as itself is so horrific. As a matter of fact, you're going to hear the judge in the federal case say that right here. As the court has already noted when denying defendants' previous motions to dismiss, this is what the courts said. The judge said when they have brought all these other ridiculous motions to dismiss. The judge said this: defendants have allegedly engaged in a public and coordinated campaign to ruin plaintiff's successful social media business by, among other things, repeatedly, both online and in the real world, falsely accusing him of being a rapist. And we'll leave it at that. You know what the real word is, and it's not appropriate for YouTube, and frankly, it's not appropriate if children are watching either. And not only that, a child rapist. There are few accusations that could be more harmful to a person than a false accusation of actual, we'll say that, abusing of others, especially when it comes to children. That's particularly true when the falsely accused person's business, the source of income, are directly tied to the number of people who view, support, subscribe to social media content. It is not difficult to see how being falsely accused of rapping children, along with other defamatory comments and statements defendants have allegedly made. Listen, this is so horrific what has happened to me that I'm getting tongue-tied. And if you're sitting there going, Jeremy, aren't you mad? Of course I'm mad. Any reasonable individual would be beyond upset. And any individual who is going on and stating that this is true, that Jeremy did this and Jeremy did that, when it's defamation, it's not true. They are going to be held legally liable in the courts. And as you're hearing right here in federal court, the judge himself is saying this is the worst of the worst that people could do to another individual. So yeah, I'm a little worked up. Yep, I'm a little hot under the collar. Yep. How would you respond if somebody did this to you? Literally tried to destroy your life, stalked you, tried to use you and abuse you for money and fame, then did abuse you, defamatory comments all over online, and then placed all over the public. Those individuals who are jumping on this ridiculous royal turd, they are going to be held held accountable in court as well. This isn't anywhere near done. And you would think that people would stop incriminating themselves. That has not happened. As a matter of fact, more people are incriminating themselves. You're fools. You're flat earthers. And you're going to be held accountable. And so the judge goes on to say, along with the other defamatory statements defendants have allegedly made, could cause the plaintiff to suffer damages well in excess of $75,000, and then gives case law, and then more case law, and then more case law. And then it goes on to the point of literally the judge is stating where $8.2 million was awarded in defamation. What do you think's going to happen to LIEnette CROOK? Now, I get it. They don't have the money. What do you think's going to happen to a bunch of leeches that smell like cod? I get it. They don't have it. What do you think's going to happen to somebody who is a felon and, oh my, this just keeps going on and on. There's going to be mass judgments that these individuals will never be able to pay. They will, in my opinion, absolutely lose everything in their lives. Page 2 of 24, it goes on with case judgments. And we also see plaintiff awarded in another case judgment. This is the judge, $700,000 was awarded in damages. And by the way, those other individuals in Florida, you know, the group of felons, they are being sued for defamation. The exact things that we're talking about right now, they're being sued for defamation. Now, I get it. They have nothing. Although one of them has 40 acres and crocodile eggs worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But he thinks he's safe because it's all in his wife's name. No, he's not safe by any stretch of the imagination. It damages and defamation. Oh, and here's the other funny thing. Stating, I've got a lawyer who's a former prosecutor. Well, that's funny because your lawyer didn't keep you out of jail when you went for how long? For illegal activity, felonies, or somebody saying, well, my family has lawyers. That's funny because that didn't keep your other significant others out of jail by any stretch of the imagination. Having a lawyer or knowing a lawyer who is a former prosecutor means absolutely nothing. If you broke the law, you go to jail. Having family members who are lawyers means absolutely nothing. If you broke the law, you're going to jail. The lawyer means nothing. Now, I get it. There's good lawyers who play checkers. Oh, wait. No. There's lawyers that think they're good that are playing checkers. You get what I'm saying. And then there are real lawyers that actually play chess. And so there is a difference. But when it comes right down to it, it comes down to a judge or a jury who's going to determine this is either illegal or legal, one or the other. You're either guilty or you are innocent. And all the evidence exists that the guilty people are going to be held accountable. All right, so defamation where the defendant referred to the plaintiff publicly as an adult. You guys ever seen that movie Predator? Yeah, well, that's the word that's used here. And like a I can't even use the words here. It's not appropriate. Who masterminded an attempt. I can't read the words. The judge is stating this. So the judge already reading all of this from LIEnette and her LOL, her lawyer, is already not happy with them. And this individual keeps digging a further hole for LIEnette. And the judge hasn't even seen everything. I mean, we have so much that has been posted online that the judge is going to see. And I can't even imagine what the courtroom is going to look like, what the courtroom is going to be like in regards to LIEnette CROOK, their lawyer, and what is going to happen. This is not going to be a pretty picture. And the judge from the get-go is already stating, this is not okay. All right, so as it will be shown, there is an ample evidence that LIEnette and CROOK published these and other false statements about Jeremy Hales to third parties that, number one, were calculated to defame, diminish the reputation of Mr. Hales in his immediate community and within his capacity. Now, this has already happened. You can see from this core thing that LIEnette and CROOK did, okay? LIEnette being the one that wrote half the signs. Her stating that Crook is the one that posts signs around Otter Creek. So what we know so far is LIEnette wrote half of them. We don't know who the other person was. And LIEnette's own admission is that Crook posted them. And Crook's admission in court, it was, well, if LIEnette wrote the signs, what does that have to do with me? Under oath in Ohio court. Okay. So all of that starts there. And then you see it going out further and further. You got a big old pile of guano who jumps on it, who is going to be held accountable for that defamation in court. He will probably have a judgment of millions of dollars against him. He will literally have nothing after this is all over. You've got individuals in Florida who are going to have judgments against them, who will literally have nothing when this is all over. You have other individuals that have jumped on board going, you literally have an elderly man who fought for our freedoms and our rights that you would think would actually fight for the right thing, who is literally stating and telling people, do not challenge what they are saying, the opposition, the defendants. How foolish, how ignorant, how stupid can you be? And so their efforts, YouTube, literally, Facebook, literally proves the point that it all stemmed from LIEnette and Crook. And now it has gone out and out and out and out in a complete and total defamatory flush. With the immediate community and with his incapacity. Number two, were made with the knowledge that their falsity or with reckless disregard as to their veracity. Number three, to impute Mr. Hale's behavior or characteristics that are incompatible with the proper conduct of his business, professionalism, office, and or number four, to impute Mr. Hale's the commission of a crime. Now, isn't this interesting that whoever posted these, they never once called Levy County Sheriff? Now, this is funny as well that others are going, well, Jeremy never contacted Levy County Sheriff. Wrong! I actually took the pictures and I texted them to Deputy Weaver, who will be in court testifying to such. And his response was, there was nothing we can do, but you definitely have a great case for defamation. And do we have it all? Of course we have it all. Levy County Sheriff's Department was contacted through Deputy Weaver. Through text messages. Oh, yeah, we got it all. Okay, so for these reasons alone, Mr. Hales respectfully submits that the summary judgment in the favor of LIEnette and Crook must be denied. Remember, they're begging the judge to just make it all go away. Make it all go away. It's not going away. I will not stop until consequences come to the people who have done this to me, that are continuing to do this to me. They will all be held accountable. And this is the most horrific part. It takes money. It takes a tremendous amount of money, $190,000 so far in legal fees. And we're nowhere near done. We haven't even started in federal court yet. And then we have defamation cases in Ohio. We have defamation cases in Florida. There's going to be some in Wisconsin. There's going to be some in Pennsylvania. And the average person can't protect. The average person can't afford to protect their character. And that's not okay with the legal system. And then we go on to legal standing right here. As you can see, which, by the way, one of the things why we are selling so much as we possibly can on Whatnot is preparation for all the legal fees. This takes a tremendous amount of money, which we obviously will be suing to get all of that money back. And her lawyers will be liable for a portion of that as well. Now, with Silver Scam, I let him go, but that will not happen for anybody else. You know, here's another funny part. You've got somebody who is literally did, in my opinion, falsify the signature of Stank in Florida, which is a lawyer. We'll just call him Stank. You got Deuce using Stank's name and got it wrong, the middle initial. What else has this guy forged and falsified? all unethical, all illegal. All right, let's keep going on. Legal standards. Under Rule 56, Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, number 1, a party must move for summary judgment, identifying each claim or defense or a part of each claim or defense on which summary judgment is sought. The court shall grant summary judgment if the movement shows that there is no genuine dispute as to any material facts. That the movement is entitled to judgment as a matter of law, and the court should state on record the reasons for granting or denying the motion. In other words, if there is no basis in fact for what is being brought to the court, then the judge should give a summary judgment. But we have Federal R. Civ P 56. To prevail on a motion of summary judgment, the moving party has the heavy burden of establishing that there are no genuine issues of material facts. We have a tremendous amount of material facts. We have every post. We have every sign. We have eyewitnesses. We have Levy County Sheriff. It goes on and on. The moving party has the heavy burden of establishing that there are no genuine issues of material fact and must identify those portions of the record that demonstrate that the absence of genuine issues of material facts. In other words, LIEnette's got to say, there's no evidence. And yet, they've done nothing. We have case law stated yet again. Further, the moving party, meaning LIEnette and Crook, has the initial responsibility of establishing that the non-moving party, meaning me, has failed to offer sufficient evidence to support a valid legal claim. Now, let's get down to this again. You realize evidence is facts. There's a tremendous amount of facts. Not only, we can supply thousands of screenshots from LIEnette and Crook. Now, we give a sample in our actual filing for the lawsuit, but it's all going to come out. It all existed. And there's LIEnette going in Ohio court. You can look at my phone right now. There's nothing on these pages. And the judge going, I don't care what's on there now. I care what was there before. We all know she deleted it, but it ain't gone. We all have it. Every screenshot, every screen recording, even if it's a 10-hour live stream, it's all going to be utilized in court. Let's keep going. The difference is when we share the news of our lives, we're sharing facts. It's not defamation if it's true, and we have all the proof that shows that it's true. When you say something about somebody so horrific, and there is absolutely no proof whatsoever, it's a bold-faced lie, you're held liable to the consequences in court. All right, let's keep going on here. And additionally, a court must construe all inferences in favor of the non-movement, whereas a reasonable fact of the finder may draw more than one inference from the facts, and the inference creates a genuine issue of material fact, then the court should refuse to grant the summary judgment. We have case law again. In other words, if there's facts, evidence, for example, you've got LIEnette going, the earth is flat. You got Deuce going, the earth is flat. You got these fools going, the earth is flat. And then we come into court and we go, the earth isn't flat. Let me share with you some evidence. Let me share with you some hardcore science, which was used in the forensic handwriting expert as well. Science, real word compared to real word. Guess how many handwriting samples their handwriting expert has of me? None. Guess how many we have? Every single one that LIEnette ran to the court with. After the signs. Why did we hire a forensic handwriting expert afterwards? Because now we had all the handwriting samples. We actually knew who it was. Now we could prove it because she handwrote everything in court. All right. In a defamation action, summary judgment is almost always appropriate, except in those rare cases where the circumstances surrounding the allegedly defamatory communications are completely undisputed. And we've got a whole bunch more case law. Plaintiff must do more than simply show that there is some metaphysical doubt to the material facts. He must produce specific evidence. You mean the stuff that we actually have? Scientific evidence? Real, tangible evidence? through affidavits, admissible discovery material, to show that there's sufficient evidentiary basis on which reasonable fact finder could find in his favor. Reasonable fact finder. You know, most people should be reasonable. Most people should search for facts. You shouldn't just take what I say as the gospel. You should actually dig into the facts. And facts will tell you LIEnette wrote half the signs. They even come to the point of admitting it, even though it's backdoor admitting it, in Ohio courts. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, we got a whole bunch of case law. And we go to the mere existence of scintilla of evidence support the plaintiff's position to be insufficient to establish a genuine dispute. We have more case law. The fact is material. If it might affect the outcome of the case under governing substantive law, and a dispute is genuine if the record is taken as a whole could lead to a rationality or fact for the non-moving party. The inquiry performed is the threshold inquiry of determining whether there is a need for a trial. Whether, in other words, there are any genuine factual issues. I almost lost page 5. Oh, page 6. We're on page 6 already. Look at us flying. That property can resolve only the finder of fact because they reasonably are resolved in favor of either party. The non-moving party need only produce appropriate evidence demonstrating that there is a pending dispute of material fact. Summary judgment cannot be used to resolve swearing contestants between litigants, nor should summary judgment resolve any issues of credibility. And then we're going to get into the actual material facts. So what was just stated was, if there's no real evidence, then summary judgment should be granted. If there is real evidence, then that needs to go into court and it needs to be disputed in court. So, for example, if they are going to enter their handwriting expert's report in court, obviously we're going to dispute it, and it's their job to dispute our handwriting expert. Now, good luck. She actually did her job, and she's very good at what she does. So you can try and dispute it, but at the end of the day, guess who gets to decide? The judge and or jury. That's who decides. So our handwriting expert actually did a job, was paid for a job. Who's paying their handwriting expert? Who has no samples of handwriting from me, who then goes on to say that I forged her handwriting? Well, it sounds to me like he's stating that it looks like her handwriting if he's going to try and state that somebody tried to forge it. Oh, wait. It wasn't forged. It was her. The foolishness of this. I mean, just look at the timeline. Signs are set up all over town. Months later, all these motions are set into play in Florida court. Then a handwriting expert is then hired to compare the two, word for word, Jeremy versus Jeremy. Signed Jeremy versus court motion Jeremy. Hales versus Hale. Signed Jeremy Hales versus court motion Hales. Levy versus Levy. County versus county. Word for word. How many handwriting samples have you seen from me on the other side? Oh, none, because they don't have any. We're talking flat earthers versus science. The earth is round. Okay, material facts in opposition. We're going to get into some of the facts. LIEnette's defamatory statements, right here. We're going to get to a bunch of them. And this is skimming the surface of what these fools have done to us. Skimming the surface. Posted, this man, meaning Mr. Hales, has bullied our town clerk into a stroke. Published to Mr. Hales' Ohio Mayor's office, to Nancy Holdsworth, Exhibit 5. Oh, so LIEnette is now a doctor as well. Let's see, she's a lawyer, she's a firefighter, she's an electrician. Let's not forget about the camper electrician, and the list goes on and on. Now she's a doctor stating that I bullied somebody into a stroke. Now, let's just back up. Do you think that LIEnette would even know about Otter Creek if Mary wasn't stealing from me under the supervision of Russ the Sus with the 2-inch pipe? We could even form an argument here that the world wouldn't know about Otter Creek if it wasn't for Mary. Honestly, that's the reality. The world would not know about this place if it wasn't for Mary under the leadership, the mayorship of Russ the Sus, stealing from me. I get along with everybody. And those who have met me personally, you know I get along with everybody. And I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert. And I know you're thinking, on camera, you're such an extrovert. Listen, when the camera's on, for anybody who's filming on camera, there's a job to get done. I got to tell you the news story of my life. Guess how many words I spoke before the camera turned on? Yeah, none. For hours and hours and possibly even days. Guess where I've been? Hanging out in the woods, watching deer, feeding the peacocks, taking care of the property. I'm much more of an introvert than an extrovert. And here LIEnette contacts here in one of the most beautiful places in the world, in Ohio, where I'm surrounded by beautiful people, not this trash that Otter Creek has. And she states that I somehow bullied the town clerk into a stroke. Huh. Any medical proof to that? Because last I checked, stroke is internal, not external. All right, let's keep going on. Posted everything Mr. Hales, that he, meaning Mr. Hales, has said about the people in Otter Creek is a lie. Yeah, you can see it. All right. Well, anybody want to start counting up all the lies and the things I've said about the people in Otter Creek? Because thus far, everything I've said has been proven true. As a matter of fact, remember when I said that LIEnette would go after Silver Scam? Guess what happened? LIEnette went after Silver Scam. Oh, by the way, here's your prediction for today. LIEnette will go after Deuce and Stank, the Stanky Deuce, the Stanky Dewey too. She will publicly, you mark my words, because she is not going to win. She's going to lose everything in her life, and those two actually have potential to lose everything in their lives as well due to this. And so, by the way, I mean that legally. Absolutely. 100% legally. The law will trump everything, and the consequences will come for what they've done illegally. And so, can anybody think of anything that I've said about anybody in Otter Creek that isn't true? Yeah, me either. As a matter of fact, I've actually predicted things that were going to happen as well, and it's all happened. Everything I predicted has come true as well. Huh. Interesting. Why is that? That's because I look at patterns, and then I look at facts, and it's easy to predict when you look at the facts and the patterns of people. What's LIEnette going to do? She's not going to get what she wants. What's she going to do? Attack the person that didn't give it to her. Well, how do you know that, Jeremy? She did it to me. She wanted money and fame and promotion. Then she attacked with signs and all kinds of posts and everything else. And now she's doing it to Silver Scam, but she's doing it through Deuce. And this is happening and that is happening. She will continue. She attacks the man who lives with her on the property. Go figure that one out, right? Okay. And by the way, there are very, very good people in Otter Creek. And there are very, very not good people in Otter Creek. And if I would have known about all of this beforehand, number one, I probably would have never moved to Otter Creek. And number two, I'm already there, so I'm staying. So, point number three, posted, this being LIEnette, sent Mr. Hales, Ohio Mayor Dan, a clip of the video of Jeremy calling John the filthy names. Well, let's back up. John has called me all those names. I repeated what John said to me. Why is it that she's not stating that? Why isn't it coming out in any of this? Why isn't it with the haters and the trolls? Why is it, they're going, Jeremy's a vexatious litigant. Wait, hold a second. LIEnette is literally suing a deputy now. Why aren't they calling her a vexatious litigant? Oh, okay. All right. John has said all these filthy, horrific things to me and George. I repeated it back to John. Why aren't they talking about what John said? Interesting. Oh, it doesn't fit their false reality narrative. Okay. Oh, and I calling John all the filthy gay names that he did so the mayor was aware of who he was bringing into his life and his office. I'm pretty sure the mayor is extremely aware Actually, I appreciate his friendship, and I appreciate his family, and I appreciate this community, because this community actually cares about each other. They're making a difference for one another. They're making an impact where they can. And so I'll say this, as I've said before, don't ever contact anybody that has to do with anything with our news story of our lives. Just leave us alone. You know, the best thing you can do, just leave us alone. And yet they don't. And then they whine and they cry about being victims because they're being held accountable in court. Bullet point number 4, posted, Mr. Hale's mayor, Mayor Dan. Response was, I guess he would say the same thing if somebody was mean to him, but John didn't attack Jeremy. No, John actually trespassed on my property. We literally have the video footage of it. We've shown the video footage. He stalks me, trespasses, parks on my property, and then threatens to shoot me. Okay, and would say the same thing if somebody was mean to him, but John didn't attack Jeremy. Jeremy attacked John. Actually, I've never touched John, and I would be afraid of my fingers falling off. If I did, he's a filthy, filthy, vile individual. Jeremy attacked John, and Jeremy was screaming at John. I'm so sick and tired of John and LIEnette. Their filth, their vileness. It's horrific, and nobody should go through this. And if you want to protect them, if you want to support them, please, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, move them next to you. Give them a piece of your property. Maybe you can give them fame and money, which they so desire. Take all those tortoises and turtles, please, because Otter Creek residents don't want it. You can see that from the beginning of the video. It just shows that the mayor is just as corrupt and just as bad as Jeremy. Yeah, that's what she said. So now she's defaming Mayor Dan? Well, that would sound to me like Mayor Dan has a potential lawsuit against LIEnette as well for defamation. What was that LIEnette again posted today? Something about you can't fix stupid? Well, she's proven that over and over again. And don't waste words on people who deserve your silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. And yet she just can't stop